Alright y'all, how's it going? Full board vision. We're back in the house. I hope you're all having a grand Tuesday. And most importantly, I hope you've all got tea. Because, you know, that's the fuel of life. I've got tea. I hope you've got tea too. Alright, well, tonight it gives me great pleasure to announce that we've got a special guest, friend of the stream, and we're gonna have some blindfold chess, play some blindfold rapid games with the one and only Tim Smith. 121. And in other news, there actually isn't any other news. All right, let's jump straight in. I think. I believe the special guest, Tim Smith, is ready. So without further ado, let's drop into the game. Now, if I just switch scenes here, I think. Oh, look at that! It's already set up. Look at that. I'd just like to thank my my streaming team. They're doing a great job. They are doing a great job, and they're understaffed. So respect to them. But they are overpaid, so it kind of balances out. All right, I hope you guys are ready. Tim Smith 121 is ready. Let's go. 1e4. Best by test, according to the legendary Bobby Fischer. All right, we're in e4, e5 territory. Knight c6. Okay, we're going to the Italian. What have we got? Okay, stopping my knight going to g5. You know, I'm just going to go push the d pawn. Push the d pawn. Just try to trade off in the center. So open up my g5. My c1 bishop along this diag here. Yep, okay, I think we've got to take back with an... we could play Gambit style, c3, but I think that's too exotic. That would have been exotic. Okay, I guess we can trade bringing my queen to d4. I'm okay with that. I think a normal move in this position is actually knight e5 to hit my my c4 bishop there. Yeah, driving it back. Okay, knight goes to f6. emphasizing development makes sense. Can we trade on c6? You know, we can do that. Also, they're hitting our e4 pawn. Don't like the look of that so much. So maybe we should play c3, but I don't know. Knight c3, I mean. Can we get away with castling if they take on e4? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can. Maybe we can do that actually, because the e-file's open, right? Then rook e1 might be a thing. So maybe we could try that actually. I think I'm going to try that. I think we can get away with gambiting this pawn. Castles, knight takes e4, rook e1. And how do you defend your knight? Maybe d5? Maybe you can play d5 there. We'll have a look at that afterwards. Ah, but then there's knight takes c6. bc. Oh, it's a total mess. Let's just play knight c3. Spent way too long on that. We'll come back to that afterwards in the analysis. Here we are. Full ball vision. Okay, it's always very easy to forget that these knights are facing off, and that my queen is a defender in this position. Now then, how do you develop as black? So your pawn structure is like this, nice and easy to remember. Our pawn structure is like this, nice and easy to remember. The knights are where they belong. c3, f3, c6, and f6. And the move played is... Oh, there's no pawn on d6. Ah, there's no pawn on d6. Of course there isn't. Okay. My bad. Good to learn that. Okay, the bishop comes out to c5. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Is there a... No, there isn't. Okay, and he's attacking. Attacking my d4. Knight, so I really need to move that knight now. You know, there is a knight f5 option. Is there? Yeah, because the pawn's still on d7, so that can't get captured. Knight f5 might be an option. What's the point of knight f5? I guess it attacks g7. They're going to castle, probably. Yeah, knight f5 looks like it might be playable, but it just looks a bit risky. Okay, knight f5 or knight b3, making it hard, making it difficult. Look, let's drop back. b3, hit the bishop. Okay, we're a minute down on the clock. We don't want to get low on time. We definitely don't want to be low on time. I'm feeling nervy in this position, I'll be honest. Okay, where are our minor pieces? c4, knight b3, knight c3, and that's it. Blimey. Okay, where are their minor pieces? c5, c6, f6. Makes sense. Their pawn structure, once again, is like this. And our pawn structure, once again, is like so. Okay, pawn structure is so important in blindfold chess because you couldn't, you forget where one pawn is. It can be a big problem. Especially towards the end of the game, that becomes very, very important in endgames. But you can easily forget where the pawns are. Small pawn moves are made, seem inconsequential at the time, and you just forget. So that's difficult. But bishop b4, okay, I like it. So pinning the knight and defending the pawn. Now it's a different kettle of fish, I think. Now, do we need to defend this pawn? Somehow I feel like we don't. Somehow I feel like we don't need to defend that. I mean, we could with queen e2. All right, so let's look at this line. Castles, takes, 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 rook e1, d5. No. Now we've got bishop d5. You see, the difference is that we don't have to take on c6 to clear the d file. So I think we can castle here. I think we can castle. We temporarily drop a pawn. So bishop c3, bc, knight takes e4, rook e1. And I think the only move there, so d5, as we've just seen, will be met with bishop takes d5. The knight is still under attack. So you have to play f5, and that looks uncomfortable. Gives the bishop on c4 just a fantastic position. Okay, played instead. Yeah, d6. Okay. Now maybe knight d5. I like knight d5. Knight d5, knight takes e4, knight takes b4, knight takes b4, rook e1. Maybe. What else could we do? Bishop g5? We're getting low on time here. Bishop g5 followed by knight e4. d5, sorry. I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump into d5. Don't think that this knight capture on e4 is going to work. I think it's going to land us in the same territory. Right, knight takes e4, knight takes b4, knight takes b4, rook e1. Then d5 can be played because it looks like the knight on b4 and the queen on d8 are going to protect d5, but we can kick that knight, I believe. Then they'll take, then they'll take our bishop. We'll take that knight with check. I think we're okay in that line. So knight takes e4, knight takes b4, knight takes b4, rook e1 I think is good. I guess there's also queen d4, maybe in that position. Oh no, there's a knight c2. Okay, lots to think about. The good news is we're no longer low on time. What's the pawn structure? I think it's like this. I am feeling nervy. This is a nervy encounter. Bishop e6. Okay, I really want to take that bishop. But unfortunately, our bishop's hanging behind, which attacks our rook. Okay, but then we can take their knight, attacking their queen. Right? So it takes on b4, takes on c4, takes on c6, b takes. What on earth is going on in the resulting position? Don't know. I have no idea. Okay. Maybe bishop b5 then. Maybe just knight f6 check, queen f6 takes here. This is also very difficult. Okay. Am I worried about this? I don't think so. Okay, c3 might be a move. I'm worried about this capture. Right, we've got to move. We have got to move. Alright. I can't play rook e1, I'll blunder. c3 looks like the move that I should play. So I'm going to play it. Wow, we lost a lot of time there. We lost a lot of time. Okay, there were 2 attacks on our d5 knight, but there are 2 defenses, and we're attacking b4. This knight wants to go back to d4, right? That's what it wants. But there's a pawn on e5? No, there isn't. So actually, knight d4 can be done. Why did we trot back? Ah, we did so because the c5 bishop is hitting us. Okay. Okay. This is not looking so bad anymore, actually. It's looking like... I guess... Okay, yeah, that's what was... Hang on, we can take that. You can take that. With this knight and that. Okay, that will attack our bishop. Yeah. So what about takes, and then see what happens? I think we've got to do that somehow. There's also... No, we can't play b4. Oh, hang on. Takes, queen a4 check. There's c6. Okay, I don't think that quite works. But what about queen a4 now? Okay, I think we should just trade everything because I can't see what's going on. That's a check. Queen f6. And I think if they take queen f6, then it might work. Okay, play gf6. gf6. Okay, now we need to just understand the pawn structure, which looks like this, right? Okay, we take back on e6. e6 is hanging. Sorry, c4 is hanging. Okay, I think we're doing okay now. Because I think we've got a queen h5 move. I think we should take this bishop. I really think we should. So what just happened? And where are the pieces? Okay, we're down to one minor piece each. Their minor piece is on a5, our minor piece is on c1. Their pawns are here. Yeah, 7 pawns, and our pawns are still just here. No, c3. Okay, the antidote to a4, which looks like a double attack. Actually, they can just play knight c6, so it's not really a problem. Queen h5 is a check. I think we just got to throw that in. I don't see any way around that. Oh shit, there's a pawn on h6. Okay, their pawn structure now looks like this, doesn't it? I think it does. In particular, bishop h6 is a move. I think once the king moves, bishop h6 is a move. Winning a pawn, but self-pinning. King e2. Okay, king e2. Hang on. There's queen f7. The self-pin might be a problem, but it might not. Okay. Can we bring a rook to the d file? Queen f7 will be met with queen e7. I'm guessing. I feel like bishop h6 is okay, but... Alright, what else is going on here? This is just completely nuts. Hang on. Are we just cutting completely through the position there? Is queen takes a5 a move? What's on the 5th rank? There's nothing on the 5th rank. Queen a5's a move. Because there's a pawn on c7, I'm sure. I think it's a move. I think I accidentally full board visioned it. Am I gonna get... Did I hang my queen? I think there's a pawn on c7, right? Okay. Let's try and not get mated on the king's side. How do we get back? Because our queen is in a really not a very good position. I guess we can go back to h5. We accidentally full board visioned it. Queen h5.
Double attack.
Alright, knuckle down. Fasten your seatbelts. it's going to be a time scramble. Right, the king is on d7, the queen is on d8, and the rooks are at home. And the pawns are like this. Our pawns are like this. And the thing that we've got is this bishop. Rook is on f1, a1, king here. I think what black will do is play rook g8 and queen g5. Well, they won't play it. Queen e7 has been played. Okay. I think we need to get our queen back as fast as possible. So, you know what I'm going to do? Is queen h5 a move? Or I could play bishop e3. Oh, hang on. There's actually queen b7. That looks like a good move. Did they play a c6? I don't think they did. Sorry, queen b5. Queen b5 is a check. Did they play a6? c6? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I'm going to go queen b5 check. I think their king is on d7, hoping that the king's going to go back to c8. Yeah, cool. Okay, now I'm going to... I need to act fast, so I'm going to bring the queen back here. Put the queen on f3, because g2 is my big weakness. Also, accidentally threaten queen h6, bishop h6. Don't want to play that, because it will be met with queen h7, pinning my bishop. Okay, the king went back to... That's funny. Draw, yeah? Queen b5? I don't think so. We've got to play to win. f4. Let's whip out the f4. Let's do it. f4. Let's go. f4. Rook f3. Bishop e3. Rook f1. It's away. Ooh, tension. Pawns like this. King, queen, rook, rook. And for us, pawns, there's no d pawn. Pawns like this, bishop, queen. We gotta play bishop e3. I mean, surely that was the first move, not f4. I love the tension. When I say that now, when I lose in a time scramble, I'll probably disagree. I mean, where's the king? The king is... Okay, and there's the queen. You know what? I'm gonna take that. Don't see any problems with the queen check, because the queen check is covered by the bishop. So that was what just occurred? E d5. The queen c5 is a move, right? Now we can't do this because you know, we just can't. But we should go into the corner. Queen f3. We got a queen. We got a pawn on d5. Can't be captured, by the way. Queen d5, there's rook d1. E takes, yep. Okay, now I'm going to bring the queen back to f3. Oh, hang on, isn't there queen f7? Queen f7's a move here, surely. Queen f7. Queen's on c5, king's on d7. Queen f7. So on d4, e5, f5, f6 is hanging. f6 is hanging. And once we captured that, bishop f4 is an option as well, isn't it? Oh, there's a pawn on f4. We've got a pawn on f4. God, we've got 23 seconds. What are we playing at? What are we playing at? Right, where's the king going to move to? Because I'm sure that queen e7 is not going to be played. I don't think king c6 will be played either. Where are the pawns? I think the pawns are like this. And our pawns are just like this. Okay. The king did go to c6. Okay. think we have to take. Isn't queen takes f6 a check? I think queen takes f6 is a check. I think it's a check. I can't see whether it's a check. I've got 11 seconds. All right, now we're just gonna hammer the king. Bishop d2. King h5, h4, h5, king a5, bishop d2. King c4. Okay, b3. Queen's on f6, remember, so I don't think there's any way through. The king has got to go to b4 now, I think, and then bishop a3. No, bishop d2 is mate. No, it's not. The queen has to come, and then queen takes is mate. I think it's mate in 2. Oh shit! Huh? Okay, this wins the queen. I think queen takes a3 is forced. Oh, there's king c2, right? But the queen is going to retreat to b2 at some point. Need to remember where all the pawns are. What just happened? King took on b3. Okay. What happened to my c pawn? Okay, but now I think there's queen b2. There's no queen b2. Why not? Okay, I thought there was. There isn't. Let's attack with a check. Oh, it was the wrong check. Rook f2 was the check. No. Can't play rook f2. Okay, we can't. Okay, queen's on f6. What's the problem? Okay, let's move the rook somewhere from where we can give a check. I don't know what just happened. The king went to c4? I'm gonna lose on time. What's in the way? There's a pawn on d4. That's the problem. Okay. I think the king's on c4. Our queen's on f6. There's a pawn on d4. There isn't a pawn on d4. I've got something on c3? What the hell is on c3? You're telling me I've got a pawn on c3. Oh my word. Oh my word. Oh. That was tense. That was tension. That was tension personified. I got lucky. Let's move to the analysis. Great game, good fight. I'm almost lost for words. Let's move to the analysis. Great game, good fight. All right, so let's go step by step through this game. But first, wow. Okay, what a great game. It was great fun. All right, do stick around. We're going to have an analysis session. I think we're going to have a rematch where Tim's going to get the white pieces. So let's see what happened in this game. So e4, e5, knight 3, knight c6, bishop c4, h6. Now, yeah, I used to play a lot of chess in Huddersfield outside the library. And there was one guy, and this was his special opening. So the idea is, I think the idea of this move is that knight f6 is a very popular choice. That's the two knights defense. A good reply against this is knight g5. And then there's all these fried liver things. I think the move is knight a5. So I think the idea of h6 in this position is so that you don't allow knight g5. So you force white to do something else. We play d4. So I think this makes sense. Knight f6. Perhaps we could have just traded here. But we played knight c3. I think it's a good position. Bishop c5. I like this. Okay, so the idea here is it's a double attack on my knight, which is only defended once. So we've got to do something about that. And looking at this now, the move I played is probably the worst of the bunch. I think knight c6 is one way of dealing with it. Then you get a tempo, because you get to play next move. There's also bishop e3. But I played knight b3. Yeah, it's probably not such a bad move, but I'm not quite sure I like this knight being on b3. And here we go. The pressure starts. Pinning the knight on c3 to the king and threatening to take the e4 pawn. Now I castle here, and this is the line that I was thinking of, which was if black goes in and says I'm gonna grab your pawn, there's rook e1, and yeah, here d5 is what I thought is a way of defending the knight, but it doesn't work because bishop takes d4, or even queen d5, sorry, I think is going to win that, and that knight is still pinned. So kudos to black, who didn't go in for that. Instead d6, which is to prevent the advance e5. So this is a very good, solid position. I think black's done pretty well out of the opening. I ventured this d5, bishop e6, and now a move which I did consider actually is bishop b5, but it just seemed like a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of pressure here on d5. I thought that I could take on b4. This is a line that I considered. Knight takes b4, and I thought, I might capture here, take the knight, which hits the queen, and now we've got time to deal with the attack on our rook. So that was a very interesting line. I think bishop e6 was a great move. Can't remember what I actually did here. What was it? c3. Okay, c3 is not a bad move apparently. Okay, and now is where it all kicked off, and it's so interesting that there's a capture here, a capture here, and a capture here. And what that does is it drags these pawns to these squares. So imagine these two going over here. Lands a knight here on a5, and I think luckily for white, at the end of that line there's just queen h5, which picks the piece off. So interesting. Okay, I think so. The engine is saying that we have to play queen f6 here. Queen f6. Let's have a look at that in a moment and just see that what happened here. Okay, and now, to be honest, when I played queen h5, I didn't realize that I was actually hitting that knight, so I was kind of lucky. Oh, well, it was very lucky. But that is a thing, yeah.
Double attack.
And I think the thing to draw from this is that, you know, if the king were already castled, or there weren't a way to deliver a check to the king here, this tactic wouldn't be possible. So if anything can be gleaned from that, I think it's to castle early whenever possible, get your king out of the firing line. Also, I think to capture here with the queen, because then don't think it works, right? Because against all of this, well, okay. So what's the idea? Because on the end of that line, we still have queen h5 check, picking off the knight. So how does queen f6 help? Right, you can play queen takes e6, and the f pawn stays put. Right, so now there's no queen h5 check. So that's a very, very important detail, and I think that was the move that really made the difference. Gf rather than queen takes f6. Fascinating. Okay, so now we're in this position where white has an extra piece, and it was getting foggy, time was getting low. It was pretty exciting. That was a bit of a cheeky, just put the king back on the back rank. And this is, I love this move, king back to d7. Really wants the rooks out. Great, you know, I could have been like, let's have a draw, queen b5, you know. Okay, so what happens here? Okay, so trying to break out and deliver this check. I probably should have played bishop e3 earlier. And now it's a proper time scramble. I think queen f7 was probably a good move, queen f6. And here, even queen d4, just trade off the queens. b3. I had no idea that I had a pawn on c3 in this position. But kudos. I think I just got lucky that I managed to make enough moves in time. And here it's really difficult to find a move, I think. Threat of rook d4, which will force queen takes d4, queen d4, and that's actually a checkmate. All right, good game, good fight, but I think probably the thing to draw from this game, two things to draw. I think the first one, the critical position is this one, queen takes. Develop the queen and don't allow the queenside pawn structure, sorry, the kingside pawn structure to be shattered. And the other thing is, I think for me to draw from this game is just don't get so low on time, because we were very close to running out of time there on our side. Okay, I think we're ready for a rematch. So I'm gonna make that move behind the scenes. I'll just give you a few minutes to enjoy the stream beats while we set up the game. By the way, encouraging all challengers, all special guests, get in touch. Let's play some blindfold chess. Okay, I'm gonna get the black pieces. I want to offer some prizes as well. You know, I'm thinking full board vision tea mugs. You know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of quaint, quirky. All right, so we're all good. 10 plus 5. Just gonna challenge the one and only Tim Smith. Good game there. Enjoyed that. It was a good fight. All right, so I've got the black pieces. I hope you can see the board, and whenever you're ready, let's go. I like that. Just a bit of a pregnant pause there, you know, just what's about to happen. Giving this moment the gravitas that it deserves. That's what you want from a guest. Knows the stream, understands the stream, lives the stream. Okay, so we've actually got a repeat of the position from the first game. My man likes a scotch. And he also prefers d4 in this position. I personally don't drink whiskey. Anyway, knight f6. This is my repertoire against the scotch. The secret's out. Now then, there's a bunch of different moves here. That's one of them. I think I'm going to take back with the d pawn. No, b pawn. I'm going to take back with the b pawn because I want to push d5 at some point. So where did we get to? This is the Mises variation, right? e5 is a move. Hitting the knight, not played. Okay, we're in safer hands. Can we go bishop b4 now? I feel like we want to do bishop b4. More normal in that position is to play e5, kicking the knight, then I have to go queen e7, and it gets super complex. So I'm quite glad that didn't occur. Because it's difficult. Bishop b4, I think. This is always worrisome, this e5 hitting the f6 knight to displace it, but now that the bishop pins the knight here on c3 to the king, an e5 can be met with a knight d5 or even a knight e4. Okay, bishop d2, unpinning. Now this gives us the opportunity of capturing and then taking the pawn. But we will hang g7 at the end of that line, so I don't really like the look of that. I feel like we should castle. Are we missing an opportunity? Nah, I think bishop g7 is going to claim the pawn back. We got rook g8, but yeah, I just don't believe in that. Let's just keep it simple and castle. Keep it simple. Okay, where are the pawns? Because the pawn structure is not so obvious. Yeah, and we've got this thing, right? We have double pawns. Queen f3. Okay, we do have double pawns. Queen f3 is a defense of... But hang on a second. Hang on a second. I think we might have bishop c3, knight e4, exclam, perhaps. Queen takes e4, rook e1. A rook e1 will pin the queen to the king, and I think the only way you can get out of that is by playing bishop e5. And then, luckily for us, we can play d6. Followed by rook takes e5. And in that process, we won a pawn. I think. There are other ideas though, because after bishop takes, knight takes e4, they don't have to take our knight. They could, for example, try to attack on g7 by playing something like queen g3. But then I think we can drop back to f6. And after bishop f6, we've got queen f6, so we'll lose a piece and we just gain a pawn in that position. Got to be careful here, and we've got to be sure, because it might not be correct. Don't think they can take back with the queen, because then e4 is just hanging. Have we got the position right? We've castled. We have a knight here, a bishop here. They've got a knight here, a bishop here, a queen here. We've castled. Their king is still on e1. And they've still got a light square bishop, actually, and so have we. So we could also play bishop g4. No, we can't, because we've got a pawn here on d7. Okay, I think I understand the position. Okay, let's go for it. Hang on. Yeah, I think the e file is about to open up. No, I think we're okay. I think we've won a pawn. Should we have given up the bishop pair? Well, probably not. Sometimes the bishop pair is worth a pawn. So we've just given up the bishop pair in the sense that after this trade, we will only have one bishop, and white will have two. But we've done this so that we can take this pawn. Queen takes rook e8. Bishop e5, d6. And don't think, I mean, there's f4 there. But then we can take with the pawn. We end up with a messy pawn structure there. I mean, we did win a pawn. Let's... I feel nervous about this, but let's go. Pawn structure now for white, I believe, is like so. Pawn structure for us is like so. So the line that I think will occur is queen e4, rook e8, bishop e5, d6. And then maybe castles. Okay, two pairs of minor pieces have left the board, so these are the only minor pieces left. It's always good when minor pieces come off for Blindfold. provided that the position doesn't get any worse, because it's just easier to see what's going on. Alright, a moment to just take stock. Bishop d4. Interesting. Okay, still our knight is tactically defended. So this might give us some choices, actually. This might give us some ideas. Can we play c5? I think we can. I think we can play c5. We could play rook e8. Our opponent can't castle, so that might cause them a problem. Probably bishop e2. I feel like d5 is the move that we really want to play. Just d5. What's the pawn structure? I think it's like this. d5 looks like a good move. Rook e8 looks like a good move. c5 just feels wrong, in all honesty. I think rook e1. Can they castle long is the only question. I think the answer is yes. In that case, let's go d5. I think long castle's a move. d5 allows us to bring our bishop into the game. Maybe, well, actually not to a6 yet, because it'll get captured, but maybe after a5. And our plan now should be trade. Trade down, we've got a pawn. Extra pawn, trade. Kind of got weak lights, yeah. Okay, long castle's very nice. Okay, how do we treat this position? Oh, hang on. There's a tricky move, knight f6. No, we can't do that. I want to play bishop g4, but we can't do that yet. Bishop queen g5? Threatening bishop g4? Oh, it's a check as well. Hang on. Okay, so that'll be met with bishop e3 for sure. That'll definitely be met by bishop e3. Tense. I feel like we need to get our light square bishop into the game. I really want to go to e6. Can't go to f5. g4 is where you want to go. Queen g5 check, bishop e3. Do we see a good move in that position? Queen g6? Maybe just queen g6. Difficult. Alright. Let's do it. Queen g5, which I think is a check. Bishop e3, queen g6. We're so far behind on time. It's unreal. The reason I like my queen on g6 is I can put my bishop on f5. And it might be easy to miss that after bishop e3, queen g6, there's a threat of bishop g4, which is a skewer. It's easy to miss those moves after a retreat. Because you kind of think, okay, bishop e3, they move their queen, and then it's my go. It's easy to miss that queen g5 created the threat of bishop g4. This knight's looking good. It can only be disturbed by a pawn move to f3 or a trade of bishops. That's kind of why I want to get on this diagonal and maintain my outpost on that square, because it looks strong. Queen e3. Queen e3. hang. Okay, so we have to take and then bishop e3 and there's no fork. But the queen is pinned. Oh, the queen is pinned. It's so annoying that we can't take on f2. Because we just hang our queen. Okay, let's take and hope that they take back with the f pawn. Because then we've got knight f2. But I'm pretty sure I'll play bishop takes. Yep, well done. Okay, so now we can play bishop f5. We're going to play bishop g4. But that will be met with f3. So we're probably not going to do that. f3 is probably coming, but actually then there's knight g3. So probably not yet. Alright, you know what I think? Let's get this rolling. Let's get this baby rolling. Want to play bishop a6 and trade the light square bishops. Not worried about f3 because there's knight g3, which will allow us to trade that knight. And the rook, which is on a semi-open file, is looking good. Unfortunately hitting this granite wall on d5, so... Position looks good. Is it winning? White has the bishop pair, which is always an advantage. I mean, it's not always an advantage, but in open positions, it's usually an advantage. Knight g3? Oh, shit. Shit, I just hung my knight. They've got no pawn on a3. Oh, I thought they had a pawn on a3. Yeah, I thought they had a pawn. Okay, we've just got to carry on. We've just got to carry on. For some reason, I thought they had a pawn on a3. Why is that? Why is that? Okay, never mind. We just got to carry on. Piece down. We've got a pawn for the piece, and it's a good pawn. Oh, that's so disappointing, but hey, we continue. All right, let's see what we can do. A piece down. Knight. Ah, that was terrible. Okay, should we trade bishops? Pawn goes here. Okay, let's try to keep pieces on the board. Let's try and do that. Let's drop back. Let's try and drop our bishop to e6. Push this pawn. Knight g3.
Blunder.
Thought there was a pawn on h3. Yeah. Okay, we've got to try for a dirty flag. That's all we can do. Bishop e. Bishop. Can't we take this? Can't we take on g4? He wants this. That's for sure. Oof, those bishops are raking the board. Raking. You know what? I don't think we've got much choice. We have to play g6, and unfortunately that's going to allow bishop a6. And I think we're going to get toasted in this game, to be honest. h6, hitting our rook. At least we are still threatening g4. And if we get 2 pawns back for the piece, then we might be able to cook something up. Knight g3.
Double question mark.
Okay, went the other way. Bishop c5. Okay, this is interesting because we can actually take a pawn. Bishop takes f8. Takes. But unfortunately, you know, I think we need to keep pieces on. I don't think we can do that. If we go here... Okay, maybe this is an idea. Because I'm thinking they might be like, okay, let's trade a pair of rooks with rook e1. And we can take. Or we could have captured that pawn, maybe that was the right way, but I felt like a lot of material will come off the board. Maybe. So, that's not good for us. We need to keep material on. Yeah, okay, now we can take on g4, can't we? No, we can't. Is there a pawn on Yeah, there is. Ah, shit. Okay, miscalculated that, all of that. Alright, so what can we do? We can go here to keep pieces on. Ah, we can play bishop e6. Bishop e6, yeah. Close the open file, and we're just fighting to stay alive here. So let's just try to understand the position. Pawn structure. Oof. Like so. Alright, we got an extra pawn. They have bishops on c5 and d3. Sorry, that's a green. Yeah. Rooks here and here. King here. We've got king here. Bishop here. Rook here. Rook here. Actually, this pawn is not there. It's here. Okay. All we can do is try to play quickly and go for a dirty flag. Dirty flag. Not a good way to win a game of chess. I should resign, but you know, should I resign? Answers on a postcard, or in this day and age, you can just put them in chat. But if you would like to put them on a postcard, you'll need an airmail stamp, because I'm now in Ireland. Unless you're in Ireland yourself. But being as there's two viewers, and I think I know who they both are. Bishop e3. Yeah. Okay, bishop back to e3 makes sense. I think I'm just going to keep pushing. Because if I manage to get this file open, the A file, my rook becomes much better. And actually, okay. Yep, that makes sense. We might have something like this at some point, so I'm going to bring my other rook into the party. I'm just hoping that some sort of d4 trick somewhere is going to work, and I'm sure it won't. If I'm very worried about rook h6, just seen it now, followed by, okay, so we've got bishop f4. Okay, what should we do? Rook back here to just try and gain some time? I think we can go here. Maybe we can. Where can't we go? Alright, let's not think about this forever. Let's just go to b6. Now the b8 square has been taken away from us. Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't. They've attacked c7. That's the point. Fuck. Okay, we've lost c7. We should have played rook b7. Okay, we lost c7. That's not good, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, we have to drop back. Okay, now we should start pushing c5. C5, c4. That's what we should do. Giving away that pawn may have made all the difference as to whether we had realistically any practical drawing chances in this game. So kudos for the prodding. We've got this. Yeah, okay. Oof. This ain't looking good. Okay. Let's just hope. I think this is just going to be curtains for us. Where did the bishop land? No, I think after rook h6, we've got to play king f8, followed by king e8, and get to d7. Maybe we can actually get to e7. This is a monstrous bishop. Yep, the plan is rook h6, followed by rook d h1, this one, and then pressure on h7. Big problem. Big problems afoot. That's another way of doing it, but yeah, that's another way of doing it. Okay. Oh, that would be such a beast move. I think we just get away with it though. If they double rooks, we can take on h7. We have this, and if they give us a check, we go here. I think we just got away with it. Just. Where did that bishop go? I think it goes back here. Yeah. And then, I mean, do we have anything? What are we doing here? Got pawns here and here. Bishop here, there. Where's their bishop? Bishop, rook here. Okay, I think... Oh, this is so difficult. Where's their bishop? Let's play, where's your bishop? Okay. It's so annoying that I don't appear to be able to double up my rooks in any way, shape or form. Okay. You know what I'm going to have to do? Go here. I'm going to accept that I'm going to drop this h-pawn so that I can play f6. So... where are my rooks? Here and here. Bishop's here. Pawn structure. Yeah, okay, expected. It's going to take this. Oh, I can't play f6. Okay, but I can drop the rook back to defend. Why would you want to defend? I think... okay. What have we got? What have we got? Have we got anything? Let's just go here, because I can't see any other ideas. We lost another pawn, that's all. So we've now got pawns like here. Oh no, hang on. Oh, like here. Oh, okay. They've got pawns here, I think. Okay, all right, let's come back with our other rook. We can't do that, we've got to trade. Oh, I guess we didn't have to trade, did we? Okay, now we can play f6. Oh, we got forked. We got skewered. Well played. It's the skewer. And the king. Okay, we've got to come back here. It's the skewer. We're getting skewered. Okay. No idea what's going on. Absolutely no idea what's going on. Rook b3. Okay. Where's our king? Yeah. Okay, let's go there. Time scramble. Gonna get mated. There's a pawn that's about to get captured. Okay, so where should I bring my king? I think this is resigns, to be honest. I think it's time to resign. Too much time on the clock. I'm going to resign that one. Well played. A well played game. Let's bring the music back on, and then let's move into some analysis. Good game. Good fight. Enjoyed that. Well played. All right. Let's bring in some analysis. All right, that was a good fight, and colossal blunder from myself, and just very well exploited. So we've got e4, e5. Okay, so we're in a scotch, and so the usual move in this position is e5. So e5 is a typical move here. So I think if you play this line of the scotch, this is the thing to know. I mean, it's not necessarily the best move, but it is the move which usually players play this for, to get into these wild positions. So you pin the pawn, queen e2, we extricate the knight gets attacked, and then we pin the c-pawn with this bishop move. And there's just this, it's the Mises variation. There's so much wild territory here. But our esteemed guest played knight c3. So Jump in with bishop b4, bishop d2. Now, this is a clever move because I think if I capture here and take on e4, this bishop takes g7. Yeah, and white's better. So that's why we don't go for knight takes c3 straight away. Instead we castle, and I think that creates the threat, right? Because so the problem of this line here, yeah, this one. Bishop takes g7. That's the problem at the end of the line. So you castle, which defends your g7 pawn. Okay, now queen f3. d5 was a move. Wow, yeah, okay. That's interesting. My feeling is that white should be playing bishop d3 here and castling. That's my feeling. It's queen f3, you want to castle long. Actually, I like that as well. I like that as well. But I think this allows at least knight takes e4 after we've taken on c3. So bishop c3 and knight e4. So this was sound, and kudos for not capturing and allowing this. So the line that I thought might occur would be, because you can save the queen with bishop e5, but then there's d6. I mean, there's probably various ways to win this piece. Maybe you can even play queen e7 after f4, d6 as well. I was planning d6. Actually, white's better here. Wow. There's queenside castles pinning the d6 pawn. That is so cool. And if you try queen g5 with a check and claim it's full board vision, there's f4. In fact, there's even bishop f4, which is just ridiculous. Wow. Okay, so interesting. I miscalculated in this line. Queen e7, and I definitely would have played d6, and I'm sure Tim Smith 121 would have found long castles. Wow. Okay, but apparently the correct move here is d5. Okay, so the queen probably goes to... Then you can... So what's the difference? Queen d3 and... you want to hit it with f6. Okay. Oh, why not just f6 to begin with? Okay, that's also good. Okay, just don't play d6, and that is so instructive. Because d6 is like... I think that's what you would usually... That feels like the natural move because it opens the bishop. But it falls afoul of long castles, pinning the d pawn. Wow, lovely. Okay, but none of that happened. Instead, bishop d4. And now black has a slight edge, an extra pawn. Oh, you know what? c5 apparently is a decent move. There's nothing wrong with d5. Castle's long. Queen g5. And now, interesting. Okay. Queen e3. Yeah, draw. Bishop e3 is also playable. I was expecting bishop e3, where I was going to go queen g6. Black has a very slight edge here. Okay, queen e3, trade bishop takes is important. If you take with the c pawn, with the f pawn, then knight f2.
Knight fork.
Is forking. So you don't want to do that. Bishop e3. Okay, and this, and I don't know why, but I thought there was a pawn on h3. So I jump into g3, thinking that I'm going to be getting the bishops off, and it's a colossal blunder. You know, it's...
Double question mark.
And from here on in, I don't think I got a chance. Great play from Tim Smith 121. Okay. Did we miss any chances? Let's have a look. So just trying to keep pieces on the board. Bishop d3, great move. I think this is kind of forced, really. I mean, everything is bad, I think, here, but we can't allow bishop to just take on h7, pick off that pawn with a check. So g6, bishop c5, we move the rook to the open file. They're going to trade. For some reason, I thought I could take on g4, but luckily I realized that there's a pawn on f3. Okay. Yep, just closing up the queen side. And here I missed that c7 was attacked. I thought that my rook was attacked. And the question was, which of these two squares to go to? It has to be b7. Go to b6. So that's another pawn down the Swanee. Okay, at least here we started to push something. But yeah, this is just the right idea. There's no way to defend this pawn now, because it can't go to h5 since there's a pawn on g4. So now we start scuffling around, and this is just desperation. That wasn't necessary because it was defended, but this is desperation from your host. And look at this. I love this. What's this?
Skewer.
It's a skewer, and you know, kudos. Should have resigned here. Now we're a whole rook down. And losing sight of the position. Time trouble, just picking everything off. And yeah, I think that resignation was fair there. Well played. Good game. And many thanks to our special guest, Tim Smith 121, for joining the stream. I really enjoyed that, and it was nice to have an even score at the end. And I hope you enjoyed looking at the games thereafter. And we should definitely do this again sometime. All right, happy days. Well, perhaps one last thing we can say is what lessons can we draw from this game? I think just in this position here, typically what's played here is bishop d3. That's the typical way that you defend this pawn, enabling you to castle kingside. So I think bishop d2 is unusual a little bit. And yeah, I think one thing to look out for always in king's pawn openings is if your queen, a pawn on e4 when you've still not castled, which is defended by a queen, quite often a knight can jump in and capture that, and it's tactically defended by the pin. And I think that, if I can go back, is the reason why I think here I would recommend bishop d3 to get that kingside castling on the go, rather than bishop d2 and then queen f3 and long castles, because that one extra move means it's possible for black to take that pawn with a tactical justification. Nice games, great fun, and I hope you enjoyed this installment of Full Board Vision. I'm going to be offering prizes when I've found them to those that get that managed to get a positive score out of the session. It's a little bit unfair, isn't it? Because I think that was a good match, but it was an even score. So, you know, just another half point, and you might get yourself a Full Board Vision mug, right? And then you can fuel up on tea along with me. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Big thanks to Tim Smith 121 for joining the stream, friend of the stream. And we'll catch you all later. Have a fun rest of your Tuesday.